Hello, it's Friday, the 26th of November. My name's Shilin Shah. I'm a senior economist at Capital Economics, and this is my week in review. And it's one that's ending with market sentiment being decidedly risk-off amid concerning reports of a new coronavirus strain. It's still early days, of course, but we're covering the potential economic impact of this new strain in some of our weekly publications, and we will continue to track it over the coming days. Earlier in the week, the major story was Turkey, where another collapse in the lira has put it firmly into crisis territory. We've been busy writing plenty about Turkey's crisis across many of our services. Our Emerging Europe team this week published reports assessing the risks to Turkey's banking sector and public finances, and they also looked at prior policy responses during currency crises to help navigate what might happen next. We've also written about the risks of wider contagion to other emerging markets, and we've discussed the global repercussions through Turkey's trade and financial linkages. You can find all of that and much more on our dedicated webpage on Turkey's crisis. Now, beyond Turkey, I wanted to highlight that this week we revised up our forecast for Q4 GDP growth in the US following a strong run of economic data, and we expect next week's job report to show that wage inflation continues to stoke broader inflationary pressures. Our US team will be holding a drop-in event after that jobs report is published, so do tune in for that, for their take on the inflation outlook and how the Fed's calculus could change. But while inflation is making global headlines, it hasn't really emerged as a concern in Asia. Our Asia team this week published an in-depth piece exploring this topic, and they will also be holding a drop-in to discuss their work. One point that they will explore is how the supply shortages that are straining many economic recoveries around the world seem to be less apparent in much of Asia. And a reminder, of course, that you can see our G7 supply shortages dashboard on our CE Interactive platform. And if Asia is an exception to the global inflation story, we also think that India is something of an exception when it comes to the long-term growth outlook. Now, we've made the point for several months that the global economy could emerge from the pandemic without any permanent loss of output. But India is one place that we think is different, primarily because of the long-term damage that the crisis is likely to leave on the banking sector. And this is another topic that we'll be exploring in a drop-in event next week. So there's plenty for you to get your teeth into there. All that's left for me to say is have a good weekend, and I hope that you can join us for one or more of our online events next week. Goodbye.